Okay, just started recording. I think we'll get started, and it's 6:31. I did say 6:32, but I'll be admitting people as they join. The first couple of slides anyway are just introductory. So I'm Nancy Barlow. I teach French and Spanish on the Garnet team, and I'm also the team leader. You may have gotten a few emails and newsletters from me, but from all of us on the team. So joining me tonight, I have Miss Laser, the science teacher, Mrs. Mustafa, language arts, Miss Wendehack, math, Mr. Payson, social studies, Mrs. Bianca, our resource teacher. And also we have Mr. Alan Smith, who is our music teacher on extended team, and Mr. Dave Masters, who is our PE teacher on our extended team. And they'll be available after we present to answer any questions as well. So are we ready to get started, everyone? Okay, so here are a couple of Google, if you're not familiar with Google Meet, so everybody I think is on mute, so that's a good thing. It just helps with feedback. If you want to change your view, you can go to the three dots and you can decide if you want to change your layout. And then if you have any questions as we're presenting that you want to put in the chat, any questions or any compliments, of course, we'll take those in the chat. And our language arts teacher, Ms. Mustafa, is monitoring the chat. So I'm also admitting people. Welcome everybody as we go along. So I don't have it set so I can see everybody. So please don't be shy. If you have a question in the chat, we will help you with that. And we'll go on to our next slide. So these are our school counselors for 8th grade. We have a new 8th grade school counselor, Miss Dawn Hoblitt, and we have a support counselor, Mrs. Erica Graff, and we have a clinical interventionist whose name is Katie Bond, and two of them are new to our school this year, but they're, acclimating great to our 8th grade and meeting with students as needed or as according to their plans. And they have a little video, it's only 40 seconds that we're gonna play for you so they can introduce themselves. Jasmine, we're not hearing it. Sorry, everybody. We practiced today. Everything was great when we have no audience.
All right, just give me a moment. I'm going to restart it and see if I can get this going.
Hi, I'm Dawn Hoblitt. I am the school counselor for the 8th grade students here at King Philip Middle School. This is my first year here at King Philip, but I have worked for the past 19 years at Conard High School. I'm happy to be here and I look forward to working with you.
Hi, my name is Erica Graff. I'm the support counselor. I'll be working with students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, working on college and career readiness and family engagement, and I look forward to working with you again this year.
Hi, I'm Katie Bond. I'm the clinical interventionist. I will be working with grades 6, 7, and 8, and I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone.
Perfect. Thank you for letting us know, by the way, whoever put it in the chat that there was no sound. I thought I wasn't hearing it because I didn't have my microphone on or whatnot, but that was very helpful. Thank you. And again, remember all of these slides, this whole presentation is being recorded and I'm going to post the slides if you have any, if you want to refer back to it. So I put a slide on here about the mood meter. I don't know if you've heard about the mood meter, but we use it pretty frequently, especially during advisory, and we ask the students, and we do it ourselves, to plot where they are in the mood meter. So if you take a look at it and just think to yourself where you are on the mood meter, and I'll share where I usually am on the mood meter. If we had this interactive, students can circle it, or, we just go around the room. There's too many of you for me to go around the room, but I'm usually in the yellow. I usually hover between the yellow and the green. I would say tonight I'm feeling optimistic. That's my word, in the yellow, optimistic, that we're gonna present to you a really good presentation, because I know it's good. So usually we want the kids in the yellow or the green, and if they're in the red or the blue, and frequently sometimes people are in the red and the yellow, or they're in the red and the blue. So we'll come up with some ways. How can we help you get out of being annoyed or fuming? Is there something? So we'll talk about some strategies. So it's just, we have these hung in our rooms, they're in the hallways, just to check in with their social emotional well-being. Where are you? If we can help with anything, we like to have a conversation about that. So I thought I would throw this slide in so you could see what the mood meter looks like. So we're going to talk next about advisory. So this is what advisory looks like. We have a little name for every day of the week. So on Mindful Monday, I don't want you to think that we meditate per se. On Mindful Monday, we have the students check Power School, email teachers, clean out their binders, take a look at the week ahead. We know that at the end of the week this week for the Garnet team on Thursday and Friday, there are a couple of assessments during the week. Thursday and Friday, there's science, there's a world language, and there's math. So we'll say to them, what are you doing to study? Have you started to study? Just get their minds in the right place. What does your week look like? So regardless of what day we start the weeks, we might have a Monday off. So we'll do Mindful Monday on Tuesday. So we like to start the week getting the kids set up and getting them organized. How to email a teacher. What could you say? I'm struggling. Like if someone's struggling in French or Spanish, what could you say? Ms. Barlow, when can I meet you this week? A nice way to say it. So working on email etiquette and how to reach out to teachers. Sometimes it's a hard thing for students to reach out to a teacher for help. Talk to Me Tuesday is probably my favorite one of the week. We have some questions for teachers if they want to use them, or teachers can come up with their own. It's a great way for the advisory to come together, to maybe find some shared interests. One of the questions last week was, what is your favorite comfort food? And then you can discuss it. Like someone might say, my favorite comfort food is pasta. And someone else like, pasta? That doesn't give me comfort. So it's just a way for people to have a conversation. And there's a whole variety of questions that we can go through. If you could bring one thing to a deserted island, what would you bring? That's sort of, would you rather go without TV or your phone? And then that just brings a conversation together, which makes it a fun day. Wednesday, we're kind of booked. Wednesday's a little longer of advisory, and we rotate through lessons. We have lessons on the vision of the graduate. And I put in the newsletter this week that we started our work on the vision of the graduate and what that looks like. Social justice lessons we have this week, 2 days this week, Wednesday and Thursday. And then we have our social emotional learning, which we do the last Wednesday of the month. So we take the kids through some lessons. It gives them good conversation, and they might learn something or become more aware of something in life. On Theme Thursday, we have some theme lessons. So right now we're in the middle of Hispanic Heritage and Latinx month. So we are having a lesson on that on Thursday. Fun Friday is plain old fun, inside or outside, depending on the weather. I've been posting some stuff on social media, on our Instagram about on Friday when the kids go outside. We have footballs, we have some wiffle balls, we have a Frisbee. The kids can have a mask break and their snack and just be outside and have fun. During advisory is our time to have a mask break too. So we always try and get the kids outside for mask and snack break. So it's a pretty busy schedule during advisory, but again, we meet each day between periods 2 and 3. And I think it's going pretty well. Hopefully you've heard some positive things about what's going on in advisory. I think it's on to the next slide. Any questions about advisory or anything like that? Throw it in the chat and we'll get to it. Okay, so now we're going to get into it in alphabetical order. I happen to be first. What we all teach and what we hope everybody's going to learn this year. So I've included on my opening slide what my classroom, what the door looks like. I have my sign outside, the calendar inside my room, what the inside of the classroom looks like, students working in the class. And if you look in that middle picture, you can actually see the mood meter is hung up on our walls. So this is what the kids see in the hallway or in my classroom. So Jasmine, I'm ready to go to the next slide. So Jasmine is our star to present the screen, but she can't see what she's presenting. She can't see what's going on. So I teach French and Spanish, and I've linked in here the grading outline, but everybody has returned the grading outline signed by them, by the student and by a parent. So we've already done a quick review of regular verbs and adjectives. It was not necessarily a review of verbs, I'm going to say. So we learned how to conjugate some verbs. And right now we're in the healthy habits unit. We started off by using reflexive verbs and body parts. And we have a quiz on reflexive verbs, daily routines, and body parts this Friday. So they've known about it. I posted a Quizlet for them. Today we did stations in the classroom, practicing different sections of what the quiz is going to look like. We've done a Kahoot. We have really practiced a lot with it. And of course, I'm always available if they need some extra assistance between now and Friday. And the second half of Unit 1 is healthy habits. You know, what do you do? I go to the gym. I listen to music. What do you do to keep yourselves in a good frame of mind? Which is what we are actually doing, you know, trying to do as a school. So that's Unit 1, and we'll have a project at the end of the unit. We will have taken a couple of quizzes and we'll do an end of the unit project. Unit 2 is in November, and they will do some house apartment vocabulary, stores and prepositions, and they'll use commands to give and receive directions. So we always in world language are trying to make whatever we're learning relevant to their lives. So they need to be able to talk about their daily routines. They might go to France or Spain and look for an apartment and things like that. So we want them to learn useful vocab and useful language skills for real life. I'm ready to go on to the next slide, Jasmine. So the Unit 3 is on celebrations. Everybody likes a good celebration. And in that unit, we're going to learn the past tense. So they're going to go from speaking in the present tense to being able to speak in the past tense. They're going to be able to tell me what happened at the party or celebration they were at. And the last unit is clothing, large numbers, and we're going to go shopping in a department store. So we're always, this whole year, we're really focused on real life situations. And of course, speaking, writing, listening, and reading skills. Tonight, they have to do a speaking activity. It's actually due on Wednesday. They have to record themselves talking about Flipgrid, talking about what a regular day looks like for them. They wake up, what they do until they go to bed. And I'm not sure, I put in there might possibly be a midterm or a final. Last year, there were no midterms or finals. We haven't made a final decision on that. So I said, just in case, I'm going to put it out there so you're aware in case, because they do get a high school credit for taking French 2 and Spanish 2. So we try and do what the high school would do in that level class. So I'm done with my part of the presentation, and here's Miss Bianca.
Hi. I'm Mrs. Bianca. I'm the special education resource teacher, one of 2 in 8th grade, but lots of students see me in the hallways, and I also teach an intensive reading class. I co-teach a math class with Miss Wendehack, first period, and then I also co-teach a developmental math class with Miss Martucci. I also teach study skills class 2 days a week, learning lab 2 days a week, a content support for English 2 days a week, and a content support for math 2 days a week. So a lot of the students I have this year, I had last year in 7th grade and looped with them. So it's really nice to see some familiar faces. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm all through with my presentation. Next.
I wasn't ready. That went way too fast. I was so interested in what everybody else was saying. Hello, welcome. My name is Miss Laser. First name is Jessica. I am your student's science teacher. This is our list of units of study. So we are coming up, as Ms. Barlow had stated, on Thursday, the students have a test. They have their Unit 1 test. So we're coming up on finishing Unit 1, Mass Measurement and Motion. The students did receive a study guide today. It is 6 pages. It's quite hefty, but that's going to be their only homework. Shh, don't tell them. That's going to be their only homework all week this week. So to focus on that. So whatever support you can provide at home would be great. And then that's due on Wednesday. So that way they have that. They've gone through it. They can review. They can use that to study on Wednesday and prep for their test on Thursday. I also wanted to just put a plug out there that I'm hosting a study session via Google Meets. I've been telling the students for a week and a half now, but I'm hosting that tomorrow from 4 to 5 p.m. The students have the Meet link in their email, and it's also posted in the Google Classroom as an announcement. So I really like to make sure that students succeed. I'm not here to trick them or, ensure anybody fails, right? I'm always wanting to help provide success. So any way that I can do that. And last year I did this extra study session and it proved to be very successful. So after mass measurement and motion, we go into forces and Newton's laws. We talk about Newton's law, first, second, and third law. Then we go into types of energy. We talk about gravity, the acceleration rate of gravity. Then we talk about energy transfer and transformation. So conduction, radiation, that type of stuff. Wave properties with some electromagnetics. We are going to throw in some magnets here as well. Don't know exactly where that's going to fit in yet. And then we'll round out the year with some chemistry. So looking at structure and properties of matter, looking at the atom, what makes up an atom, talking about the periodic table of elements, some chemical reactions, things like that. All right, I'm ready for the next slide. So in Google Classroom is the lifeline. We're doing a lot of things on paper this year. I've noticed students are definitely struggling with organization. And I think that might be a mixture of going from online to in school back to on, so trying to get them back into a routine of being a student. So Google Classroom has everything that's posted for them. So if they do lose an assignment or a homework assignment, I give them paper copies every day. If they lose that from here to home, which seems to happen a lot, then they can print off one of those copies in Google Classroom. Within science, we also are going to do some science literacy, looking at scientific methods. So they've done a couple of labs already. We are finishing up a motion of a car lab. Hopefully they've been talking about that. Prior to that, we did a spaghetti lab where we were looking at pieces of fettuccine. We were breaking them and doing all sorts of fun stuff there. We did a calculate your own speed lab. So really trying to incorporate some of the topics and the concepts into real life and what it looks like. So that goes along with proper research techniques. Graphing, we're hitting hard on graphing. Students definitely, this is one of the things across the board last year as well, where students have struggled with some graphing. So making sure that we're getting that in. And then again, we've got the hands-on, we've got labs, experiments, stations, partner work, all of that stuff. And then at the bottom here, my course outline and grading policy is there for you. It is also located in the Google Classroom underneath the classwork. Next slide, please. All right, last one for me. So normally a day in science class looks like this. Students come in, there's a do now. I call them do nows. And then, or for everybody else, it's basically a warm up. Kind of gets the students into gear, especially that first period when they walk in and it's almost like they just rolled out of bed. Trying to get them geared up and ready for learning. Then it usually will follow with a lecture. If I've got a PowerPoint, if we're starting a new topic or a new unit, then we'll do a lecture. We'll talk about that. They'll take some notes. Then I usually will follow up with some classwork. Then we'll review that, or there'll be some sort of an activity. So today we did a do now, and then they worked on their lab for the most part. I try to end the classes with some sort of a check for understanding, just to make sure that all students are on the same page. Expectations are there on the right, everything that you would expect to have or expect to see in a classroom. And then the last piece that I'll mention is we do hold NGSS state testing. So that's Next Generation Science Standards. That does happen in March. So I believe in the past it was SBAC, which I don't ask me what that what that means because I have no idea. But NGSS is our new testing that, so we rolled it out last year, and then we're going to continue it this year as well. Right, next slide.
Hi, it's Mr. Payson, social studies teacher. I saw in the chat a lot of people were asking about, will you get access to these links? And if you didn't see, the answer is yes. Although we're doing a live presentation now, you'll get access to this whole presentation in the newsletter, or we can, I guess, email you a link if you don't know how to access that. So, for example, in my presentation, you'll see the curriculum standards and the course expectations links. And all the other teachers' links are active as well, but just not for the live meet, but we'll get that to you. All right. Next slide, please. Thank you.
I just need to say, Mr. Payson, that is not your classroom. Can you just be clear? I showed my actual classroom, and then we're practicing today. I was like, what is that? That is not his classroom at King Philip, everybody, okay? So,
I don't know what you're talking about. I fire up that potbelly stove in the middle of the room every morning. All right, it's a real picture. You're just going to have to live with it, Ms. Barlow. So these are our units for social studies. There's one of the links that I was referring to, the curriculum link, which is really valuable. We have posters in the room that of each unit that we dive into, and we go into the essential standards and the learning targets. So if you'd like to see maybe what they're doing or what's coming up, you can go through the curriculum link, and it'll go an even deeper dive with each unit if you click on those. But we'll get that to you. So Unit 1, we've passed the intro unit and welcome back activities, which I felt was really important because some students were finding it difficult to get back into the swing of things. So we were just getting kind of our feet under us as we got back into school, got to know each other, and reviewed the expectations for the unit. Some students hadn't written in a while or typed, so that we were just getting used to that again. Some students I'd known for years because I had them in the remote school, but either way, we've moved on to Unit 1, which is why it's underlined, the historical thinking skills. And they're being trained on what it's like to be a historian and the strengths and weaknesses that come along with that. The next unit is a very interesting one because we focus on local history, Connecticut, West Hartford, New England, and we look at colonial slavery. We'll be looking into a program called Witness Stones, where we each kind of take on the task of looking at a local enslaved person and try to honor their story as best as possible. So we'll be doing that, and they'll be producing something through that Witness Stones project. And we work with local historians when we do that, so they can think like a historian in Unit 1 and then meet a real historian in Unit 2. Unit 3 is the era of revolution. This is what 8th grade is kind of known for, is studying the American Revolution. It is a targeted one, so we don't cover everything, but it is a pretty interesting one in that they do some deep dives into our nation's history. I love Unit 4. It's probably my favorite, where we look at building a new government, and we look at founding documents. I especially love looking at the Constitution and all the amendments. Unit 5, early presidents. They used to just be Jackson, but they've expanded it to several early presidents, not just focus on the Jacksonian era. So by Unit 6, the end of the year, we're looking at dividing and expanding nation. We kind of end around the Civil War. So hopefully we'll make it there. But throughout Units 2 through 6, we'll be doing a research project throughout the year to coordinate with National History Day, which is a nationwide kind of competition, and I'll give them more information on that. They have not heard about that yet. So next slide, please. The emerging skills. If you're like me and you have kids in West Hartford Public Schools, you're always wondering, like, what can I do to help them out? Or what skills are they working on from year to year? These are some of them. So we're articulating compelling questions and answering them in class. Like, for example, okay, who's speaking? Who's not speaking? What voice would I like to hear? We're evaluating sources. I challenge them not to use the word bias. We call it a swear word in my class, so maybe you can continue that at home and add it to your roster of words that are not appropriate in the house. I'm trying to challenge them to use words that maybe better identify what they're reading. I'd like them to explore multiple perspectives when looking at an issue. and engage in conversations to appropriately share their opinion. And a personal goal that I will likely choose for my goals each year, every year teachers have to choose some, is that improve discussion within the classroom without the use of technology. Since we were so heavily reliant on it last year, I thought maybe we could learn how to use, have conversation skills without it this year. So next slide, please. And I think this is my last one. So the tasks that we're going to be doing to represent those skills in class. Students should be able to make a claim using evidence. It can't just be their opinion. So pick a side, yes, no, and then back it up, or any argument in between. I'd like them to make connections between multiple time periods, events, people. We used to call this continuity and change over time. So looking at when history repeats itself, for example, instead of just saying that, to actually identify the connection or theme that they're seeing. Some students are working on communicating their opinion verbally or in writing. Either way, we're going to work on expressing themselves appropriately. Another random skill is emailing their teachers appropriately, not just a 2-3 word thing, but getting out what they actually want to say and an example of what they're trying to say to support it. So for me, for example, instead of saying I need help, they could say I need help on assignment 12, question 3, and then saying what specifically they're having trouble with. So and then another thing I'd like them to do is check PowerSchool and Google Classroom. And just a random note, NHI stands for not handed in, and I would check for those to make sure that they're caught up on their work. That might be it for me. Thank you, and you can email me any questions.
Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Aya Mustafa, and I'm the ELA teacher for the Garnet team. This year in Language Arts, we're structured around 4 different units of study. We're beginning this year with The Road Taken, which centers around realistic fiction and short stories. Then we'll be moving into lessons from the past, present, and future, which is where we study historical fiction and informational texts within book clubs. For Unit 3, we'll be looking at memoir and narrative through this unit, struggles and successes. And then for our final and 4th unit, we'll be studying identity and society by studying drama. Our class expectations are to advocate for yourself and be an active learner. That's a really important skill, especially in 8th grade as we're preparing to go into high school. Be respectful of yourself, your peers, their opinions, and their right to learn. Always be prepared for class, so bring in your book to class every day. At any given point, students are going to be engaged in either a class text, a book club title, or an independent reading text. So they should have their book with them in class every day. In order for us to foster lifelong reading habits, students are expected to engage in a high volume of reading that's appropriate to their interest and to their readiness. So they're encouraged this year to explore different genres and build their reading stamina in preparation for high school. So I've built in time for independent reading every day in our upcoming units. And I also expect that of students that are reading an average of 20 minutes per day. On this next slide, you'll find a collection of helpful links that pertain to ELA. On the first link, you can find our virtual ELA library, where you can see a collection of different books that students can read on their own. On the next link, you'll have ebook and audiobook resources that students can read, again, independently. The class syllabus and grading expectations and guidelines are also listed under that pink sticky note. An informational letter for independent reading is also linked in below. The 40-book reading challenge, which we're going to begin mid-October, is also linked on in case you're curious and checking that out. And finally, if students aren't sure where they want to start reading, I have listed some book recommendations for them to start their journey. Go ahead.
All right, it's my turn. Ms. Wenda Hack, first name's Jasmine. So course expectations, that goes for both Math 8 and Honors Algebra, since I teach both of those courses. All students are expected to come to class prepared with all their materials. That means a pencil, because we always math and pencil. I say math is a verb. Ms. Mustafa, you can cover your ears for that one. So the only way to math is to show their work. So they have to be doing something. And so expected to have a pencil, notes, tool sheets, calculators, and then being ready to learn. Expecting students to complete assignments on time as best they can. That practice is going to help them on assessments. So if they're behind and they haven't completed the homework and they have an assessment, they haven't done the proper practice in preparation for that assessment. Be an active participant. So whether that's answering questions, asking questions, taking notes, those are all ways that students can show that they're being active in their learning. Using resources provided, whether it's their notes, the packets, tool sheets, anything and everything I post in Google Classroom is a resource for students to use. I ask that students ask questions and ask for help when needed. I find that out of all the years I've taught here with King Philip, students have a hard time going from grade 7th to then grade 8th, right? That they have maybe some struggles or challenges, that the work has gotten harder. And so they might not be used to asking for help, and that's okay. It's perfectly normal to ask for help or need assistance. So just getting used to kind of just training their brain to get what they need. The syllabus is linked there with course expectations for both Math 8 as well as Honors Algebra. So here are our units of study for both Math 8. On the left, there are 7 units. So expect 7 unit assessments. And then within each of those units, maybe like 1 or 2 quizzes for each unit. And then Honors Algebra. Looks like there's a misnumbering there. We actually pulled out one of our units last year and I just misnumbered. But so there's a total of 5 units for Honors Algebra. After units 1 and 2, there's going to be a midterm that might have a little bit of unit 3 on it. Just kind of a forewarning kind of thing. I will send out all the information that's needed. There'll be plenty of preparation for all the students in Honors Algebra. So just know that that's just kind of looking at my whole game plan, but I will be sharing all that resources with you. Typically the midterms in January. So that's way in the future, but just getting you prepared a little. So as I mentioned, resources is a huge thing. And so sometimes students aren't accustomed to using resources in 7th grade. So now they might have to access them. There's so many. So Google Classroom is a huge resource. I have an actual resources topic that I'll post all the unit packets, tool sheets, helpful websites. So the grade 8 math website's listed, iExcel, the team newsletter for families that we share out. Miss Chenard, she's another grade 8 math teacher. She's just phenomenal with making videos. So we have all those linked as well there. That's a resource for both students in Math 8 or Honors Algebra. So here's our first unit that we're kind of like living in at the moment. And these are pretty hefty units for both Math 8. Math 8 is dealing with kind of the geometry aspect and incorporating pre-algebra. And then Honors is focusing on, of course, the algebraic thinking, solving equations. So this is really some heavy work that students are working on. So there's links to those units with the grade 8 math website. So helpful resources like videos and notes as well for students. And that's it for my section. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I think we hit all the questions in the chat so far. So if anybody's monitoring that, thank you. So I'm just reminding you that we do have a team site where I post every week. Once I send you the newsletter, I post it on the team site as well. And I post all the previous newsletters on that site too, if you want to look back on anything salient that I may have said that you may have forgotten. So that's how you get there. And again, this is going to be posted. So the recording, if you look back at our recording tonight, you won't be able to press these links live. But once I share the presentation on the team site and in this week's newsletter, you'll be able to hit all the links and open them. So keep that in mind. And we are, as you know, the Garnet team. So we can go to the next slide, please, Jasmine. Okay, so we went over with the kids, the Garnet team expectations. I'm just going to give you some highlights. We actually met with them today. during advisory for a quick 5-minute meeting via Google Meet, just like this, just to reinforce a couple of things. We're really enjoying all your kids this year. We have a really, really nice group of kids. We're having fun with them in the hall before, on passing time. And then, when classes start, everybody's being respectful. We have noticed a few things that if you could help us reinforce this. The school rule is your phone is powered off and ready to be stored in your backpack or locker as soon as you enter the building. If you're familiar with where we are in Garnet Town in our own zip code, we are pretty far from the main door if they get dropped off at the front. They've walked about a half a mile to get down to our area. So we just want to stress to them that and I reminded them today, the phone is not in your pocket. It needs to be in the backpack, and we're happy. We've given them lots of reminders, so we just want you to help us reinforce that. They come down to our area after they've walked a half a mile and gotten in a couple of extra steps. We have a Chromebook for each student on team. Some kids do bring in their own, but we have 4 carts, and they come and they get them. And then at the end of the day, they put them back in the cart, and fingers crossed, they plug them in. Mr. Payson is really, really the nicest person I know, and he plugs in the computers where I'm saying they're not going to get it plugged in. It's not going to be charged if they don't learn to plug them in. So he's the backup if anybody forgets to plug them in. Earbuds. Earbuds is a recent problem. So kids can wear a hood. Kids can wear a hat. And we're finding, and I learned this very important thing, I wear earbuds, but earbuds, whatever I wear that have no wire, I didn't realize if you tap it, it changes the song. So some kids are like tapping in front of me, and I just think they're telling me to repeat myself, but in fact, they have their earbuds in. So we've told them again, they can't have their earbuds in. Now that I'm aware of it, I'm going to be ready to say, please take out your earbuds. And at 7:55, the bell rings, we have some nice music, and you're off to your period 1 class. So that's our morning routine, and we are all here to help. And please let us know if you have any concerns or questions about how we're running things down in our own zip code of Garnet Town. Hi, Jasmine. Oh, here we go. So here we are an email away. And again, this isn't every newsletter. So I hope you're enjoying our newsletter I've heard in the past when I ask everybody to put in a quick sentence or two about the week in review. I've heard from other families in years past that, it gives us something to talk about at dinner. So Miss Laser says that in science, this is what you're doing. So, instead of getting the how was school fine, you can actually maybe ask a question about, so in science, how did that lab go when you went outside and you measured your speed? Or what book are you reading? I kind of want to take Miss Mustafa's class after I just watched her. I want to do a 40-book challenge. I think we should do it. So here are emails. You get this every week. We're always an email away on Team Awesome. I don't remember what my next slide is, Jasmine. Okay. Oh, if you didn't see our flip grids at the beginning of the year, where we introduced ourselves, I linked them in here for you. You might just want to say, this is what I said to the kids the other day, because we have the upcoming quiz on Friday. So last Friday I said, listen, this weekend when you're home and you're playing video games, you get a little bored. You can say, oh my gosh, I have a French and Spanish quiz this next week. I think I'll take a break from my video games and practice my vocab words. So listen, if you get a little bored and you want to see, what we're all like outside of the classroom, here are our flip grids. We already shared it with you, but just in case you want to, it's like a rerun. You can binge watch. Anyway, here we are. Help is always available. So we are available during Learning Lab or by appointment before after school. We make ourselves available. So please. Okay, thanks, Alan. So please let us know. And we just started Homework Club on Tuesdays, 8th grade from 3 to 4. And I posted that information in the newsletter last week. And it's available in the Garnet Team Google Classroom, what they need to sign up for that. And Saturday Academy starting in October, and I can help you with that. So even if your child doesn't have me as a team leader, I can help you navigate how to sign up. Or I'll reach out to you and say, hey, we want Ryan to come to, sorry, Mr. Dooley, you're right in the center of my screen. So I can say, not that I want Ryan to go to Saturday Academy, but just in case I want him to, I'll reach out to you, or you can reach out to me and we'll figure that out. So we're here to help you get whatever help you need. Next slide. Do I have a next slide? Okay, what's next tonight? It's 7:10, so you can stay right here in the Google Meet to ask questions. We're the core academic teachers are on this Meet until 7:30. Regardless, you can leave and then say, oh my God, I wanted to ask Miss Wendehack a question. Come back in, we're here. Or you can leave this Google Meet completely and you can join the Unified Arts team and they're going to answer questions. They don't have a presentation. It's a Q&A for them, and we're going to post that Meet link. Hopefully someone's going to post it. Yes, why only one day? That's all because we can't have it be too crowded. So we have a day for 6th grade, a day for 7th grade, a day for 8th grade. So they have a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Wednesday we can't have it. So we have just a certain number of kids who can be in there at once. And limited on, so hi, Miss Principal, right? And limited on staffing as well. So is the Google Meet link for the Unified Arts team, did somebody post that? Because that's probably beyond my ability.
I just actually tried to grab it, but for some reason it says it's like the link's no good. It's an invalid link.
Okay, that's not great. Okay. We'll figure it out. That's the link that I got. So just be patient while we're figuring that out. I'm sure I can get it. So that's our presentation from the, oh, thank you so much, Principal Wright. She has her hands on her back. Is anybody a Peloton person? That's what one of the instructors said. My hand is on your back. So if you want to join the UA question and Q&A session, please feel free, or you can stay in our Google Meet and ask any questions away that you might have for us. So I'll let you guys decide what you want to do.